Jeremy, I was born to a fairly middle class family in Battala, and the youngest of 8. I have 6 sisters and a brother, all elder than me. And then, our family was a very social family, more or less. They say the burgers do have parties, and we do have parties, and we do have friends visiting. My house was more or less a clubhouse, though it didn't have a normal bar. The liquor used to come in, and my brother and his friends used to come, and they used to have a drink and sing song. A guitar was a regular thing used. Piano was also there in the home, so people sang and danced, and that was what it was when I was a little kid. Before I became 13, I had tasted alcohol, but I didn't like it. My father was never drunk or an alcoholic. But later on, my father died at the age of 13, 14 when my father died. And my brother couldn't control me, and neither my sisters all pampered me because I was the youngest. My mother had to more or less work to feed us and look after us. So I was more or less left alone after school. In school too, I had company where there were fellows using and drinking, but I never used any drug or anything like that way. As we were a Catholic family, we were taught to go regularly to church, and we said the rosary every evening before we did all the other social things. So that's how I grew up. And then after my father died, I went berserk. I started going all over because my mom was not at home. I had many, many friends in my area. No one knew my brothers and sisters as much as they knew me in the village that I lived in. I became so connected to the people around me. By the time I was 17, I played sports, cricket and soccer for college, and then ultimately what happened was I was found drinking with the masters by the father rector or the principal. I was kicked out of school. I was politely asked to leave, my mother was sent a letter saying that the principal wouldn't mind if I didn't show up at the next term. So my mother was taken aback. I went to school at the next term with my mother because she took me there to find out what happened. And when the father told her that, well, I can't have your son here because my masters will become alcoholic, it was shocking for her, and she was burst into tears. But however, I held her hand and pulled her out and said, let's get out of this place, because I started scolding the priest who told her that. After that, I was at home for a couple of weeks or about a month, and then an uncle of mine who owned a hotel happened to show up. After that, he invited me to work with him in the hotel because I was just staying at home, and I went there. When I went there, I went berserk again because I found this. It was a tourist hotel by the side of the beach. The people there, the tourists who came there, when they came in busloads, they just took to the beach, half nude like, and after that they sat in the pool, basking in the sun, and then in the evening, about 5 o'clock, they will all dress up nicely and come to the restaurant and bar and then be there have their meals and be there till around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, dancing and singing to a calypso band. So that became a part of my life. I went to work there, but I was more or less behaving like a tourist there with them. The owner of the hotel, who was an uncle of mine, called my mother up in about 2 months and said, well, if I leave your son here, he's going, I may have to close down the hotel. So I prefer if he would go to hotel school and study and then come back, or become, or go out and become a proper hotel qualified person in life. So I agreed, and my mother agreed when she was told this by my uncle, when she conveyed it to me. I agreed, and I thought, great, I'll go and study again. As long as I was studying, I was okay. But the moment I was sent out for in-service training to some hotel to work for a couple of days and come back to gain experience, I used to drink again. I never thought that I will become alcoholic, and my mother also never thought that way, because I was a bright spark in college when I was very young. However, alcohol became a part of my life, and I did not know alcohol. And I had many girlfriends at that time. Then I did not know what to do with myself. So I got back into the hotel trade, and then I got a decent salary at that particular time in life when I was fairly young. I got also a service charge. I got free living quarters, free meals, and all these things as a young manager. And then, oh my God, I didn't know what I was doing. I'd forgotten all the prayers that I said with the family. I'd forgotten all the spiritual way of life that my family left. And I was only worried about having a drink and dancing and singing and, all the fun in life. So I had been from about 24 to about 31. I was more or less raving drunk, going around and losing one job, getting another. And life was very easy. People started taking me from one job. I jumped to another. Sometimes after 1 month, I left this job and went to another. So I had completed about 13 jobs from 24 to 31. And some places I never went back to take even my salary, because I did not know how I had behaved the previous night or the last night of my work. Having problems with the owners of the hotel, sometimes having problems with the staff. After alcohol, drugs was not a part of my life. I had tried the local ganja or cannabis, but I did not like it very much. It did not mix with my alcohol and my way of life. So, however, alcohol was so persistent that I used to drink sometimes from morning till night, and it never ended. There were hardly a few days that I stayed without drinking, and if I did stay, it was far between, seldom and far between. So I kept on and on and on, and ultimately, I remember when I had lost my job and I came home one day, my mom just told me that she just said, "Son, I don't know where you're going. I can see you're going on the wrong path, but if you're not listening to me and you keep going and going, one day when you feel that you should stop this and turn back, remember I am there for you and there is a God for you." And I just laughed at her, and I was thinking she's mad. I did not know that I would I would get fed up of this and I would want to quit, but I just wouldn't be able to do it by myself. So as the years went by, I had lost my jobs and no one was prepared to take me. I was blacklisted in the hotel trade, and no person would want to have me in their cadre. I had gone through my cash. I'd gone through my everything I possessed, sold everything, lost my house. By this time, I was married and I had 3 kids. And the last of it was my wife decided to leave, taking the kids away from me. Well, when she said that she was trying to leave, I said, well, it's good. If you want to leave, remember, don't come back. And I will be happier, I can drink better without you. That's the way I thought. But ultimately, when she left, I found that I was left without anyone to give me anything to eat and drink. I had no clothes to wear. It came to a point where I had no clothes to wear. I had no place to stay properly. And I was begging from people who were selling moonshine for me to have a drink, or moonshine or Kasipu or whatever it is. And ultimately, it was there that I found a person who was there got mad and went into the asylum in Angoda. And the doctors had given him a leaflet where Alcoholics Anonymous was mentioned. When he came back with this, as he was a master who did not speak English, and the Alcoholics Anonymous meetings were in English, he came and met me and he asked me whether I would be able to come along with him to translate at an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. But I thought, I just told him, you seem to be mad. You've gone into the asylum, and if you want to stop drinking, you better go. But you want me to go to Alcoholics Anonymous? Because I had already known that Alcoholics Anonymous is a place where people go to stop their alcoholism or to change their life. But though I knew that, I did not want to go, I did not want to stop. I was not ready. However, I gave him a fairly long date, about a month and a half away, and I said, right, I'll take you on this date. Because he started crying, saying, if I don't go there, I will get mad again and I'll have to go to the asylum. I gave him this date and I forgot about it. But on that date, in the morning before he went to his school to teach, he came to see me and he said, today is the day you promised to take me to the meeting. And he promised to come and translate for me. So I said, okay, all right, I'll come. And I made some conditions. I said, I want on the way back, you'll have to bring me by taxi home, and I need a pint of alcohol. So he agreed to all these things. When I went to this meeting, for the first time in my life, I see people talking about their alcoholism and opening up about their life and saying, calling themselves alcoholic and telling about what they had done and what they did. They all gave testimonies of themselves. Here was Jeremy. I was shocked to hear people being so open. And they were telling my story. They were telling what I did. And I just couldn't, I was hurt, I was angry, I needed what they had, but I wanted alcohol also. And when suddenly someone from somewhere said, Jeremy, it is your turn if you have anything to say. And I did not know, with tears in my eyes, I said, I'm Jeremy, I'm an alcoholic. This was far back in 1984, on the 25th of November, when I said this. Everything was blurred in my life, and then suddenly I was crying and I couldn't talk anymore. Since then, I have not had a drink, but I went to these meetings almost every day for the first year or first couple of years. If I did not go for a meeting, I went and met one of the people who sponsored me in. And I sat in their office from morning till evening, sometimes at the start, and tried to help with a little typing and with a rodeoing and doing photocopying for Alcoholics Anonymous. And that's how I stayed sober. I just can't imagine how I stayed sober. It was just through these meetings, but that was the turning point in my life where when I came into AA the first day, without my knowledge that it was a thing like this way. And I admitted that I was powerless over alcohol and my life had become unmanageable. You see, in AA, the first thing I knew was it is a day at a time program. When I was out of this program, the first thing I did was I thought I'll drink today and stop tomorrow. But they taught me how to stop today, and if I needed to take it the next day. So the next day never came. I changed my life through this program, which is a 12-step program, which talks about spirituality. It is a spiritual program. And I found my God back again. I found my religion back again, and I accepted it. I accepted people who were religious because I hated them, I detested them, because when they were talking of my alcoholism or my drinking or my not being a spiritual person, I would just tell them to fly a kite, whether they were priests or Buddhist priests or whoever it is, I just didn't care. Since I came into alcoholism, I've had so many friends who are priests, I had so many mentors, so many people who are Buddhist priests, and I respect all religions. And I started going back to church. I started going back to respect my creator and that sort of thing. Alcohol became taken away from my life. I did not know how it happened, but I kept going for these mini meetings, and my spiritual life started growing little by little, but surely it is now almost 40 years since I stopped, and since I changed my life. My wife never came back, but I found a partner in my life, and I have never, divorced or had any problem like I had before. I've never lost a job after that. I've never brawls or fights after that. These 12 steps changed my life, and I'm very open about it. I'm not trying to break my anonymity on it, but for the sake of helping someone, I would go to any length to tell them that if they have a problem, well, for me, Alcoholics Anonymous was the place that I came out. And if anyone does want to come, yes, I also take this opportunity to thank Father Noel for giving me this opportunity to share my testimony on what happened to me and how I changed my life. Well, I cannot say that I'm a very spiritual person. I cannot say that everything is 100%. But after working the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, yes, it changed my life. And the turning point was that first meeting when someone who had been just like me shared to me face to face about what happened to him. So this is where I changed, and I think that if anyone has a problem, well, it's a mix of the program and it's gaining a spiritual experience through the program, through working the program. Once again, thank you to Father Noel, and thank you to all listening in.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you. See, step two says, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And it sounds like for me, the power greater than yourself was the identification with the hearts of the other people who were in the
Yeah,
room. They were just full of love.
yeah,
And,
it
and
was. It was on that first day when I started crying. And every time I think of it, I become emotional because my life was so unmanageable. And then suddenly this thing happens to me. I hardly translated for the person who I didn't go to translate. Because you see, I took the program more than him. This person who went with me, he stayed sober for about 2 years and he went back, he relapsed, he went back to alcohol and he poisoned himself and died. He drank poison and died because he couldn't get back on the program after the relapse. So every time I think of that first meeting where it really hit me hard and changed my life. Someone told me who I was without by talking about themselves. So that was the change, and that's where the spiritual experience really came into my life. Otherwise, I would have relapsed. It really came hard on me. Thank you, Venerable. Thank you. I was very, very open about Alcoholics Anonymous because you see, the problem is, I really feel that though we are anonymous, when you're in a tiny group like this, and people, if I can change one person who listens in, I'll be the happiest.